was having a conversation with a top producing agent today, and I was a little bit surprised. She had let me know that her business, she felt like she was in a rut, like she wasn't getting anywhere with where she wanted to go. And as we started to talk and I started to assess the business and where she was, not just in terms of like her business life, but in terms of her personal life, there were a couple of patterns that I started to notice. And so as I started to ask more questions and understand her, I was like, oh, I know what the issue is. I understand. Right now, there's no vision. And vision is one of the 3 core components to a successful business. This is Danny Gould, everyone, selling Silicon Valley. And today, I could not help but reflect on the 3 core components, the 3 critical things that you need in order to run a successful business. And if you're lacking even one of these 3, you will be in a rut. And if you're lacking 2 of the 3, your business is practically non-existent. You're missing all 3, it's dead. Obviously, vision is the first one. So you have to have that North Star, that thing, that vision, that concept of where you want to go. But even more practical than that, on a yearly basis or on a monthly basis, there needs to be some clearly defined goal and or goals. It cannot just be enough to say, like, I want to be a top producer. Well, guess what? So does everyone else. What does that even mean? Like, do you want to be a top producer and like never see your children and never see your family? So we want something, but we don't clearly define the means by which we're going to get there. And we don't even clearly define the metric or the goal that we're chasing. You want to be a top producer. What does that mean? Okay, I want to do 40 units this year for $40 million in real estate. Respectable goal. Commendable. Great. How are you going to get there? And that's the second component. It's the second core component to the business, and that is a compass, a map, a guide to get you to where you are. And by the way, like, a guide or a map comes in a variety of different ways, especially here in the real estate industry. It's not just a business plan, although that can be it. Do you have a cadence of accountability with someone that's going to keep you accountable, hold you accountable to where you want to go? And not only that, but that's the compass. Then the roadmap. The roadmap is, have others done it before me? And can they help me get there? That's the critical component that I was missing earlier this year. And that's why I made the move to where I made the move, was because I had the vision. I had core component number 3. I just didn't have the compass anymore. I didn't have the roadmap anymore. And no, I'm not with Compass. I know that's a pun. But I'm baffled at how many agents I see out there that have fake aspirations. They're like, yeah, I want to be successful, but they don't have a clearly defined goal. And not only that, even if they do have a clearly defined goal, they actually don't know how to get there. And then they pay some coach thousands of dollars a month sometimes to sit there and tell them shit they already knew. When in reality, what I know, and what many people know, is that the coach is only as good as the player. That's it. I said it. Coach is only as good as the player. See all these like athletes say, it takes 2 to tango, right? It's not like Tom Brady wouldn't have been Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick wouldn't be who he is without Tom Brady. There's a symbiosis there, if you will. So anyways, so that's number 2, the roadmap. Like, how are you getting there? What is guiding you there? A business plan, an accountability coach. Like, there's a lot of components to that. It's not just like one thing. There's a variety of different tools that you use, right? I just said there's a compass, there's a map, there's all these different little tools that you can use to get to the north, to get to that final destination, if you will. And then the third component, it's actually the most simple of all of them. It's just energy. Do you have the willpower to do it? Do you have the discipline, the drive? I can tell you, like, if you're missing the energy, it doesn't matter if you have ambition. If you don't have the discipline or the willpower, like, it doesn't matter if you have vision and like all the cool fancy tools and the CRM this and the CSU that and all that bullshit. No. You're not going to get to where you want to go because you lack the most basic component of a successful business person, and that is will, discipline, ganas. Okay? So, you can be missing one of these 3 components and somehow eke out some business. Like, for example, let me give you a very concrete example. You're lacking vision, but you have some tools at your disposals, a little compass, and you have a lot of energy. Well, you're just going to go around like a little Energizer bunny all day long. And you know what? Occasionally you're going to mistakenly bump into a deal. You have a lot of energy, you have the tools, but you don't have a vision. You don't have a clearly defined goal. That's the problem. If you don't have that clearly defined goal, you will be a fraction of what you could be, because you didn't have anything to work towards. If you don't have vision, right? But you have, if you don't have the roadmap, but you have the vision and you have the energy. That's where I was. Well, you have the vision, you have the energy, and you're just going. But it's not optimal. And so you can start to lose some energy, you can start to lose some momentum because you're doing it the hard way. It's not optimal. And then finally, like I mentioned before, you don't have the energy, but you have the tools and the vision of where you want to go. Well, you'll do some business, but again, you'll just be a fraction of where you could potentially be because you lack the discipline to truly put in what is necessary in order to reach your full potential. And that, unfortunately, like you can help, I can help, a good mentor, a good coach, anyone can help with the tools and the compass and the map, right? Like that's all fine. Together, after a couple conversations and really getting to know someone, you can come up or you can figure out what the vision is. But the energy is hard to get, because I'm going to leave you guys with this. When I was an undergrad at Stanford, I was fascinated with the at-home or the lives of my peers when they were back home. I wanted to understand the environment that got them to where they are, because I thought, my gosh, I'm at an elite university, like there's all these really intelligent people here. I wonder what their life back at home was. And so I would just randomly pull and sample people, and of course there's no scientific basis to this. I didn't actually like track and measure any of this stuff, so you can go ahead and say that this is BS, but I know it to be true because I was committed I internally to learning more about my peers and their home life and their environment and everything. And so what I found was that when I asked people, like, oh, how's your life back at home? The people I thought that were the most brilliant, like literally the most impressive people, when I asked them what their life was back at home, more often than not, they'd say, oh, my parents left me alone when I was a kid. Yeah, no, my parents, like, they were there, they were supportive, but they weren't helicopter parents. They didn't make me do anything. They let me go to parties and stuff. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And it was at that moment. It was in those 4 years at Stanford. Which, by the way, I think I have like a 1.7 GPA there. Like, I was a bad student there. But I learned the greatest lesson of all there through those interactions, which is this: you can give the kids the tools, the knowledge. I can give a real estate agent the tools and the knowledge and the skills. Like, I can teach them all that, the access, and give them the infrastructure and the support to succeed. But the one thing that is not teachable is motivation. The motivation has to come from within. Anyways, slight tangent. But those three things are the three things that you need in order to successfully get yourself out of a rut. If you're missing one of those three things, and it could be motivation. The motivation has to come from within. You have to rediscover what it is that you're driven by, you're passionate about. If you have all three, you win. And if you're not, then use this video as a self-reflection to analyze and discover and figure out what it is that you need to change in order to get yourself out of that rut. This is Danny Gould, everyone. Selling Silicon Valley. Stay legendary, everybody.